Okay, so I think that kind of concludes the explanation of how the Bank of Canada, through changing interest rate, can manage the economy by influencing um, uh, consumer spending, investment spending, and net exports. But the way they do it, like I said, is kind of backwards. They change interest rate first, and then in the background, change money supply, which will produce the targeted interest rate. But I'd like to finish off with the demand for money and the supply of money. So the supply of money is a stock variable. That is our M1 and our M2 plus. And if you look on the Bank of Canada website, they actually have a calculation of how much money is circulating in the economy. So because it is a stock variable, we can actually measure it. The supply of money is a vertical supply curve. Like that. Okay. The demand for money is the amount of money that people would like to hold in the form of cash. So like I said before, if you are a rational individual, you would actually like to hold the least amount of cash possible, since cash doesn't have any return. So most people would probably want to have their cash invested so they can get some type of return on their money via stocks or bonds or mutual funds. However, there are times where holding cash is a good thing, like right now when the market is getting hammered and bond prices are going down. So the three reasons why people hold cash are, for one, to finance purchases and sales, so that that's your transaction motive. In certain scenarios, you want to use cash because some establishments may not take credit. So it's always good to have a little cash on hand. Number two, sometimes you want to hold cash to provide a cushion against the uncertainty about the timing of your cash flow. So ideally, you always want a buffer. And in financial, and if you were to take a small course in personal finance, a lot of people will tell you, or your financial advisor will tell you, that you always want to save some money for a rainy day. Should there be an interruption in your income, that you should have, 3 to 6 months of your expenses, and they often call that as an emergency fund. That it should be money that you should save just in case something happens. Should you get laid off? Should you get hurt and you were not able to work and get some kind of income? This should be a buffer to help smooth things out. So this should actually be, a savings account. And I actually really recommend that, because credit cards should not be your emergency fund. It should be money that you should have saved. So for every paycheck, if you're able to, take out $25 and put it in a different account, and don't look at it until it has built up to 3 to 6 months of your expenses, and then you can leave that alone. So that is what we call your precautionary motive. Now, the last reason why people hold cash is to protect yourself from the uncertainty and price changes of other financial vehicles, which is kind of happening right now. So if you look at the stock market, your stock markets of most countries have fallen about 30%. So that means if you own stocks right now, you might have gotten a 30% haircut. In times like this, the safest way to, I would say, hold or accumulate wealth is with cash. So at times like this, we say that cash is king. So so that is your speculative motive, is to really protect yourself from, you know, other financial vehicles going sideways, which would be kind of undesirable right now. So the last thing in terms of money and in terms of interest rate is, remember that interest rate is kind of like your opportunity costs of holding cash. Anytime you are holding cash in your jeans or cash in your savings account that doesn't pay you any interest, the opportunity cost is the lost interest that could have been earned if you instead had invested it in some kind of interest bearing instrument. So the last question I want to answer before I finish off this lecture is, what would happen to the demand for money balances if interest rates were to increase? So if interest rates were to increase, a rational person would want to hold less money because you don't actually get any return or interest on cash. So when interest rate goes up, you would expect people to hold less cash and invest more in interest bearing instruments. So this concludes my lecture, and I hope that this actually makes sense. But if not, I am going to post the times of my office hours, so you can ask me things that didn't make sense at that time. Okay, so have a good day.